Hey guys, this is Down to Play Games. My name is Daniel, and welcome back to the channel after a really long break. We're actually going to be starting off with Dark Souls 2 this time around, just because, um, yeah, I've been deliberating, and I wanted to do something a little bit different, and basically just for some background, I decided to take a break from this for a while last semester just because things got really busy and I was having a hard time balancing out like school and extracurricular activities with all with the YouTube things and just a bunch of different other areas of my life. So I decided to take a break, and yeah, after winter break and a lot of quality time with my family, feeling good about starting this back up, and I'm deciding to just scrap the last playthrough and start over with Dark Souls 2 just because I wasn't really enjoying the last playthrough with all those rules that I set for myself. So yeah, this is going to be a blind run of Dark Souls 2 with the DLC. So I guess a blind run of the DLC since I've played all the way through the vanilla Dark Souls 2 at a previous time. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything once branded. The symbol of the curse. An augur of darkness. Your past, your future, your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By then, you'll be something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls, a hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north, a great king built a great kingdom. I believe they called it Drang Lake. Perhaps you're familiar. No, how could you be? But one day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without really knowing why. Like a moth drawn to a flame, your wings will burn in anguish. Time after time. is your fate. The fate of the cursed.
Alright, let's get into this. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been watching cutscenes from Dark Souls 1, because I've just been playing through it on my own, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a very big debate, I guess you could call it, between like opinions between Dark Souls 1 versus Dark Souls 2. And one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is, like, a lot of things in that cutscene, apart from the dialogue, just seem very arbitrary and just kind of, like, impossible to explain. Like, this is just nitpicking, but, like, what is that location? Like, where he goes and he goes to that place where, like, the flame butterflies, I'm assuming it is, they come out and, like, they light the torches and he falls into the water. Where is that? And where is this? And how did he, like, he falls into that vortex of water, and then, like, we land right here. Like, what is all this? I mean, it looks like a cave, and these look like giant, stalagmites, I think they're called, or stalactites or whatever. But yeah, like, it's called Things Betwixt, and then suddenly we're connected to Majula as we go out of a cave, as you'll soon find. But I don't know, like, it doesn't really seem to have a logical explanation. And as you saw earlier, the lost connection to server thing, I'll explain that after this cutscene.
What seems to be the ruckus?
Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead. An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
You're finished. You'll go hollow. Yes, you'll become one of them.
Hollows prey upon men, feast upon their souls. This is the fate of the cursed.
What is your name?
Alright, so for this playthrough, I'm gonna be RPing a Fire Emblem character.
At least you know your own name. Here's your reward for sharing. It's a human effigy.
Take a closer look.
Who do you think it's supposed to be? Think back, deep into your past. Yes, it's an effigy of you.
Gotta admit, it's a pretty cool way to kind of introduce you into the character creation menu. I'm not gonna do a whole lot here, just make it somewhat similar to Lindis from Fire Emblem. She's a character that I really, really enjoy. And let's see here. Yeah, that's alright. Her eyebrows. Let's just do that and make them. Yeah. Let's see, everything else. Yeah, I'm not too fussed about that. We're gonna start off with swordsman, get a bonfire aesthetic, and finalize. Don't worry, I will explain about the message thing that I said I will explain.
All people come here for the same reason. To break the curse. You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance. Well, you never know. Go through the door and trot along to the kingdom. But remember, hold on to your souls. They're all that keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You'll lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Okay, now that they're done talking and we have the DLC items, let's move forward. So, with that message, okay, this is the reason why I've been kind of worried about doing something with Dark Souls 2, just because Dark Souls 2 has such a... I mean, Dark Souls 2's merits come mainly from its online interactions, but the internet at my school is stupid, and for some reason, like, it only blocks out some particular servers, like server styles, or I don't even really know how to describe the situation, but basically some servers work, some servers don't work, and Dark Souls 2 servers don't. So yeah, what that means is online covenants, co-op, invasions, none of that is gonna work, and totally all of that is just totally out of my hands. I can't really do anything about it, just because the way the security proxies are set up or whatever. So yeah, it's just gonna be a totally offline, total just me and Dark Souls 2, which I'm sorry to you guys about, just because online adds so many interesting things to the game, and I really wish I could have gotten involved with PvP, which is, you know, the reason why I got the game, but I get to school and it doesn't work. So yeah, there's that. Now I'm gonna try my hardest not to just, you know, like, blatantly complain about things in this game. Hold on, let's see. I'm gonna double check audio settings. Okay, that looks alright. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna try my hardest not to just make, like, unfounded complaints, or, you know, just being super salty about the game. I'm gonna try my hardest to make, you know, valid claims about the game, just to, you know, just to open up discussion with you guys. But, like, one thing, and this is just me personally, one thing with this game that I've noticed as a stark contrast from Dark Souls 1 is, first of all, like, the mood of the narration and the cutscenes in Dark Souls 1 are very, what is it? Like, they do a really good job of setting the stage, and just kind of like introducing Lordran, introducing the lore, bringing these, you know, these key characters up to you, and then still leaving a very respectable measure of ambiguity, you know, for you to decide what you're going to, you know, how you're going to piece things together, and you know, you as just basically a victim of the curse, and eventually, you know, a participant in the whole deal. Like, as you choose whether or not you're going to, you know, continue and finish Lord Gwyn's legacy, or just do your own thing and become the Dark Lord. But, like, the point of what I'm trying to say is in Dark Souls 1, it seems like, you know, it seems very expository. They're telling you what's going on. They're telling you the history, and then, like, the game starts off, and, you know, like, it's very...
Yes, you! Give us Silky!
Now that the crows are done interrupting me. Like, it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard to, articulate. Like, you guys might know what I'm talking about, but just, like, I don't know. It's very expository. It's very introductory, which is the case with this game's introduction as well. But, like, it seems different in the aspect that it's very ambiguous still, and while they set things up, there's still a lot for you to piece together and a lot for you to decide. Whereas with this game, like, first of all, I guess they kind of set things up, but what really does that whole cutscene say? I mean, in essence, like, what I get out of it is, oh, everything's hopeless, the curse is still there, even after the events of Dark Souls 1. And that same message is repeated over and over and over. Like, the Firekeeper ladies in the house over there, that's literally all they're saying the whole time is, like, oh, you know, the curse is still there. We're all still screwed. You're gonna go hollow. Oh, what can you do about this? And then each of them just kind of laugh at each other with that, and then say the whole thing all over again. And then all the while, like, they're looking at you, like, they're looking down on you as just kind of like a helpless, foolish child, which, I don't know, I mean, it's a different approach from the way they... Whoa, that was close. It's a different approach from the way they did things in Dark Souls 1. And one that I'm not sure I'm really crazy about. Just because, like, yeah, we get that the curse is still there. We get that, you know, things are still not very hopeful. But, you know, like, why don't you actually tell us things that could somewhat mean something? Like, why don't you tell us things... Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh. Can I stop? Okay. Like, why don't you tell us things that could, like... that, you know, actually somehow set up the lore, or, you know, like, give us something to care about. Because you tell us that some king built this city called Drangleic, which at this point, if you've never played the game before, you have no idea what it is. I guess you have a very vague idea that it's somewhere in the north, but outside of that, like, what I'm trying to say is, nobody really says anything. And the Firekeeper ladies, that's another thing. Like, in Dark Souls 1, when you talk to the Firekeeper at Anor Londo, she very clearly says that the Firekeepers share the task of keeping the bonfires lit, but they will never meet. Why? Because if they meet, they can't keep the flames burning, because they all have their respective flames to tend to. Well then, if the curse is still there, everything's hopeless, and the Firekeepers are together, how are there still bonfires? And how do you keep them lit? And, like, they kind of threw the whole concept of kindling out the window with, you know, like, Estus Flask shards and, what is it, I'm forgetting what the name of the item is, the, something bone, oh, Sublime Bone Dust. Like, with those two things, they just kind of threw kindling out of the window, which I'm not bothered by them taking kindling out of the window. I'm just saying, like, that. How does that happen? There's no Firekeeper here. Is she a fire? Well, I guess she is a Firekeeper, but at every other bonfire in the game, like, how does it work? And I guess you can make the case that you know, there are bonfires in Dark Souls 1 that have no fire keepers. But with, you know, with the concept of kindling, it makes sense that you'd keep them lit with your own humanity. You know, humanity that you either acquire from killing other people, or like just your own humanity, which is in the case of the quote unquote good ending of Dark Souls 1, where you decide to burn yourself in the flames. Like, it all somehow makes sense, but why are... You get my point, right? I mean, it just seems like a very major plot hole that the game doesn't really explain, with the firekeepers all being there, and then this keeper is here, I guess, tending this fire, but then the fire's not even lit and you have to light it yourself. Anyways, I've harped on that enough. Let's go talk to this firekeeper and get this game started.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey. Go on and see the king. He who made Drangleic what it once was. He who peered at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick. Bearer of the curse, seek misery. For misery will lead you to greater, stronger souls. You will never meet the king with a soul so frail and pallid. Seek those whose names are unutterable, the four endowed with immense souls. Their souls will serve as beacons. Once you have found them, return here to me, so that hope will not fade away. Is that a shard you found? Here, let me see it, so that I may help you. To see light, to see hope, however faint it might be.
Now see, that's storytelling that I can appreciate, and while it does become somewhat annoying, because she says that every time you talk to her to level up or strengthen your Estus Flask or whatever, it's something that I appreciate, because, like, you still get the same feeling of, oh, okay, like, things have kind of gotten screwed up here even after the events of Dark Souls 1. But, you know, like, the way she sets up the story, she gives you, like, you know, just that very small sense of hope, which Majula in itself seems to be kind of bringing about. You know, like, it's all these, like, rundown buildings on this desolate coast side, but, you know, as you progress through the game, there are more and more people that join you, and therefore, you know, just more and more life that comes to the town as a result of what you're doing in the land surrounding Drangleic, since we don't really know what this land is called. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's just the firekeepers, the old lady firekeepers themselves, that are just kind of pissing me off. But whatever, let's move on. Anyways, one thing that I really appreciate about one thing I really appreciate about this game are the visuals, just because, like, the game runs very smoothly, and at least to my knowledge, it's not super hard to run. So, like, this is incredibly smooth here, and while some gameplay elements, you know, are kind of annoying tied along with that, like, I really like the visual style of this game. Like, that's just kind of a personal thing that could differ from person to person, but I like it. I mean, it's really pretty, it's really visually appealing, and while it lacks some of the really key points that Dark Souls 1 was very strong at, I don't know, I like it. I mean, it also kind of ties in with the whole like, oh, you know, I got a nice PC, look at the graphics, you know, but like I feel like that's one thing that the Dark Souls 2 team did pretty well with this game, and in the visuals. But yeah, I don't know, like the thing is, like, at least to me, with the whole discussion between Dark Souls 1 and 2, I mean, Dark Souls 2 has a lot to live up to. Like, you have Demon Souls, which is... I view... I mean, even though I've never played it before, I view it as kind of, you know, like the charming experiment. And then you have Dark Souls 1, which is just a huge, huge favorite. And especially with Dark Souls 1, like, with the way... just the really, really well done balance between... like ambiguity in the lore and just some things that are like very clear cut. Like Dark Souls 1 is a game that I'm never gonna forget, just because like the balance in the game is done so well between like what they just straight up tell you and what you have to piece for yourself. And then along with that, like, there's just a lot of contrast that is balanced very well in Dark Souls 1, as opposed to in Dark Souls 2, where, like, a lot of the lore that a lot of the lore is just kind of like spoon-fed to you, and then the elements that aren't, kind of have like a little bit of issues with like plot holes and things like that, but. Yeah, I mean, I think all in all, like, this game, it's a really, like, it's a well-made game. Like, it's a good game. It's Souls, it's from FromSoft, but I think it's just, like, it just had such a powerful legacy behind it that it was just frankly a disappointment for a lot of people that were very invested into Dark Souls 1. Like, for one thing, when I was fighting that archer, I rolled, and then he still hit me, and, you know, while you could argue that, you know, it's just me, like, not knowing how to manipulate the iframes in this game, like, that and parrying in this game is one thing that is just kind of, frankly, annoying. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this game is still enjoyable. I think it's just that, you know, like, when you have a game like Dark Souls 1 behind it, like, there's a lot of pressure to put out a game that's, you know, that's going to be just as good or better. And in this case, a lot of people feel that, like, it wasn't done as well, but, which you know, I'll admit, I personally agree with, but by no means is this, like, a bad game, which I'm sure the people who have their complaints about this game also would agree with. So, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna concentrate a little bit on this guy, since I have died to this guy a couple times very embarrassingly. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Oh shoot, oh shoot. Drink it, drink it! Okay. I've not played this game in quite a long time. So bear with me if I make like really noobish mistakes or whatever. But yeah, for this playthrough, I'm looking to do a shieldless dex build. Just because like I found that to be a lot of fun the last time I did that. It was I never really went fully through the game, and like I eventually did get a shield just because. Like, I wanted to toy around with the great shields and stuff like that, since so many people were playing around with them. But, yeah, I want to try it out. Just because, like, this game, at least to me, I found that, for myself, I've just had to, like, find ways to make it fun, gameplay-wise. So, yeah, I'm gonna give that a shot. And while strength builds are seem to be very favorable in this game, strength and quality builds, I don't know, I prefer the faster style in this game. It's me personally. Like, first of all, I hate how Havel's looks, and a lot of the heavy sets in this game, like with great shields and all that, it just seems very like boring. And like I like to do things a little bit out of the ordinary all the time, so I guess it makes me feel special or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lighter playthrough, and this is also gonna be blind through all 3 DLC, just because I haven't done any of the DLC things yet, which I really wanted to get to. So yeah, we're gonna be starting off with the vanilla game though, just traditional LP style. And don't worry, I mean, this is a build that you guys should be able to play through and like very likely do better than me. So yeah. Anyways, like with this game, I think the issues with it, like I said, was just expectations from the previous game. Cause like, what the crap? You do your thing, sir. But like along with that, just like Dark Souls 1's level design is one of the best that I've ever seen. There we go. One of the best that I've ever seen. Just like, you guys should look up maps, fan-made maps of the game. It's incredible. Just like the level of interconnectivity and like, yeah, just the level of interconnectivity between the maps while maintaining while maintaining integrity with the structures and the the various architectures in the game. It's just incredible. Whereas with this game, like, there's just a lot of like long extended hallways and corridors that kind of take away from that. But all the same, like, there are things in this game that I'm very curious about, and like I mean that in a sense of wanting to discover, just because like that place in the intro cutscene. I don't know, maybe it's already been confirmed. I don't do like a ton of outside individual research, but like that place is always really intriguing to me every time I watch that intro scene. It's because like the main character goes there and then falls into the pit, like the water cyclone or whirlpool or whatever it's called. Like, the butterflies appear and then the pool forms and then he goes inside and then, oh shoot, and then he goes inside and he ends up in Things Betwixt, which, like, aside from the visual things, like, oh, I forgot about you! Hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's use this weapon. Whoa, I did not know you had hyper armor with that. Okay, there we go. Let's swap these, actually, because I prefer this moveset. There we go. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the beginning place. So, like, that's one thing that's always really raised a question in my mind. And, like, yeah, I guess just that. I was trying to think of something else to say along the lines of that, but I guess that just kind of sums it up. But I don't know, like, there are things in this game that are definite improvements from Dark Souls 1. Like, for one thing, being able to sprint up ladders is really nice. Like, I guess it's just mainly like a couple gameplay mechanics here and there, like including more of these weapon slots. Let's see, the ladder thing, that's cool. Oh, being able to move while you pull back the string for an arrow, that's really nice. But then, like, on the other side, things like parries and backstabs are kind of frustrating. So I suppose, like, it just kind of differs between people who are used to Dark Souls 1 style of doing things, like people who started with Dark Souls 2 as opposed to Dark Souls 1 may have different opinions from people who started the opposite way. Which I started with Dark Souls 1, so at first I found myself complaining about a lot of the things that other people complained about. But like as I've spent more time with these games and just kind of like had more time to examine them, I guess I've just kind of learned to view them as like different games, as vague and as vague and stupid as that sounds, but like I guess that's just the best way to explain it. They're different games made by, from what I understand, different teams. So yeah, I mean we'll have to see how it turns out in the future. And with Bloodborne being led up by Miyazaki, I'm sure there will be a lot of like a lot of parallels between that and a lot of parallels between the style of that game and Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. But I'm sure they'll also take things from this game as well that were that were new and interesting. Like I know for one thing it looked like the interaction between oil and fire and like other elements will be coming back. Things with the gameplay mechanics with like sprinting up ladders, things like that. Like I'm sure those improvements are things that'll be going into the game, but as for right now we have to talk to an NPC.
Buy something, anything. Oh, come now, help an old woman and buy something. My name is Malentia. You're a stranger to this land. Oh, we get as strangers these days. Everybody's gone and run off. Drang Lake's been a pile of rubble since the war fought long, long ago. And the giants crossed the sea. Seemed like the battles would never end. Poor folk like myself have nary a place to sleep. That's why I keep all me things right with me. You may travel light, but methinks you bear a burden of your own. They say these trees grew from the remains of the giants. From each carcass sprouted new life growing into what you see now. But you know what they also say? Don't believe what an old hag says. It's high time that I pick up a move. I've a bargain for you next time we meet, my love.
So she actually has a whole host of really interesting things to discuss with that. Let's see here. I want to pick up. Yeah, that'll be useful, I guess. Let's see. I want to pick up this and this. Oh, and a firebomb. And yeah, we're okay on that stuff. Okay, so yeah, like one couple things with her dialogue. For one, it seems like, I mean, for those of you who have played the game, oh, where am I going? It's very clear that giants have a very involved role in this game's story, and one thing that I'm very whoa! I thought I killed you with that hit. One thing that I'm really curious about in regards to the giants is, like, she mentions they came from across the sea, so I wonder how that works out with giants in Dark Souls 1, because Anor Londo, as you guys know, is a city built for both men and giants, or I guess like a city for both gods and giants, since I guess the gods could have been the same size as the giants, but yeah, like if the giants came from across the sea. Well, I guess with that, another important thing to consider is how much time has passed in between the two games. because I mean, it seems like a pretty significant amount of time must have passed for the entire city of Anor Londo to have disappeared, to have been forgotten, for Drang Lake to have appeared, and now for it to be like abandoned and desolate. It seems like a large amount of time has passed. And with that, like, yeah, like where did the giants come from? And how are they related to giants from Dark Souls 1? Like, I don't know. It's interesting stuff to consider if I can actually get the words out of my mouth. But yeah, like with that, there are a couple things that are really interesting to consider, and like I feel like this game, like its setup could have been done really well and really powerfully had it just, you know, followed the same like ambiguous and open-ended style that they had in Dark Souls 1. Like Dark Souls 1 really gave a sense of empowering the player in regards to the story and the lore. But this game, like, hold on. There we go. This game, like, I'm not really too sure about that. Who's shooting me? It's probably this guy over here, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to piece that together as we move along with the game. And this will also be a good refresher for me in regards to the lore, since it's been so long since I've played this game. So, yeah, I'll be investigating this with you guys as we move along through with the DLC and all of that. For now, we have another NPC to talk to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Kale. I'm a traveler, like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came to this forsaken land, it was... a curse? Something about a curse. How embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus. But I do know one thing for certain. I have always been very fond of maps. I came to this land some time ago. Drangleic, the Lost Kingdom. It sounded so romantic. Have you seen Majula? Oh, there's a rather spacious mansion there. I've made it my temporary home, well, as something of a squatter, I'm afraid. Inside the mansion, I found a strange map, like none I'd ever seen. I believe that it's a map of Drangleic. Now I'm traveling the land to prove it. Yes, that's it. That's why I came to the kingdom. Wait. No, that wasn't it. Then what? I don't seem to recall. Were you looking for that map? Wonderful. Then you're fascinated by maps, just like me. Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here. Incredible, really, isn't it? Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I would not venture deep into the mansion. Now, I can't be certain, but I've heard disturbing noises. Something about it feels wrong. Just be careful, please. I'll be back in Majula soon. Perhaps we will meet again and discuss maps at our leisure. I'll be back, perhaps...
Okay, so there's a couple of things from that dialogue. First thing is, there seems to be a little bit of conflict between um, his mention of Drang Lake, where at first he says he came to the land of Drang Lake for some reason that he forgot, and then after he mentions the map and the mansion, he's like, "Oh, maybe that's why I ventured to the kingdom or something like that." So is Drang Lake a name referring to this entire region, or just a kingdom? I mean, there are issues in all the other Souls games with probably just translation errors similar to this one, but yeah, like just because of that, it makes it really hard to distinguish that bit, just in regards to what Drang Lake is really referring to. And then the other thing is, one thing that I really enjoy from that dialogue is when he mentions the disturbing noises in the mansion. Um, there are just certain things with that kind of dialogue that do a really good job of like setting up a feeling of, just fear and holy crap, like I wonder what's there, like, just curiosity and fear at the same time, where when you go there you find out it's just a skeleton that you can two-shot with, just a basic weapon. But like, that in my opinion is good storytelling, because it makes you curious. And for me, I was honestly pretty scared. Like, I was like, oh shoot, like I wonder what's actually there. And then when you go and you find out it's actually just a skeleton, it's like, oh really? But yeah, like, along with that, like, there's several things in this game that are done very well with that, but others that are just kind of like, come on, like, you could have done better than that. Let's see here. I don't really want to use. Yeah, whatever. I'll just ignore you. Actually, we're getting close to the end of this episode, so I'm just gonna rest at this bonfire, and we'll actually start back up. Start up the next episode right here. And yeah, I know I have to talk to a couple NPCs back at Majula, but I wanted to do that after I got the blacksmith key and open all this and stuff up like that. So yeah, next time, I guess we'll get to that. We'll get to starting with some minor upgrades and continuing more in the Forest of Fallen Giants. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.